Welcome back to our channel, Devoted Soap Aficionados. Today is a truly beautiful day to immerse ourselves once again in the captivating, high-stakes drama of Forrester Creations. We have some incredibly intense storylines to unpack, so grab your favorite cup of coffee, settle into a comfortable spot, and let us explore the latest heart-wrenching developments on the bold and the beautiful. The transition from the sun-drenched, picturesque shores of the Mediterranean to the shadowy, quiet halls of Forrester Creations in Los Angeles is a jarring one for Steffy Forrester Finnegan. Her world has been entirely upended, shattered into a million unrecognizable pieces. The romantic European getaway, initially designed to heal her marriage and provide a sanctuary from the relentless corporate and personal wars back home, has tragically transformed into a living nightmare. The sheer psychological weight of discovering Sheila Carter lurking in the shadows of their Monegasque escape has fractured Steffy's fragile sense of security beyond repair. She is currently a woman standing on the absolute edge of a precipice, vibrating with a potent, toxic mixture of profound trauma, simmering rage, and devastating heartbreak. To truly understand the depth of Steffy's current despair, one must delve deep into the harrowing history of her trauma. Steffy's post-traumatic stress disorder is not a mere plot device to be brushed aside. It is a visceral, bleeding wound that defines her daily existence. Sheila Carter is the monster who shot her in cold blood, the monster who shot her husband, the monster who left them both to die in the filthy darkness of an alleyway. For John Finnegan to have known that this very monster was on his commercial flight to Monaco and to have deliberately, consciously concealed that horrifying truth from his wife constitutes the ultimate, unforgivable betrayal in Steffy's eyes. It is not just a simple lie of omission. It is a fundamental, catastrophic breach of the sacred trust that holds the very foundation of their marriage together. The image of Steffy violently throwing her wedding ring at Finn on the sun-baked sands of the French Riviera remains a powerful, haunting symbol of a shattered union. It was a visceral rejection, a physical manifestation of her emotional severing from the man she once called her ultimate protector. Boarding the first commercial flight back to Los Angeles alone, Steffy sought immediate solace in the numbing, dangerous embrace of alcohol. The long, agonizing hours suspended high over the Atlantic Ocean were spent drowning her sorrows, obsessively replaying Finn's hesitant defense of his biological mother, and mourning the sudden, violent death of the beautiful life she thought she had built for her family. Upon landing in Los Angeles, Steffy does not return to the Cliff House, the beautiful home that now feels entirely tainted by the lingering specter of Sheila's relentless obsession and Finn's broken promises. Instead, she seeks refuge in the familiar, imposing architecture of the Forrester Creations CEO office. It is her sanctuary, a place of immense power and control in a life that suddenly feels entirely chaotic and unmanageable. But in the quiet, after-hours darkness, the massive executive suite is just an empty room echoing with the deafening silence of her ruined marriage and her profound, suffocating loneliness. It is within this dimly lit, cavernous sanctuary that she encounters another lost, wandering soul, Carter Walton, the handsome, brilliant, and fiercely loyal chief operating officer of Forrester Creations, is fighting his own devastating, private battle. Carter has always been the steadfast rock for the Forrester family, the honorable man who fixes everyone else's problems while his own heart remains perpetually bruised and overlooked. Tonight, however, Carter is not the composed, articulate executive the world knows. He is a broken, hollow man, drowning in a sea of grief and premium whiskey, actively mourning the sudden and agonizing collapse of his own cherished marriage. Carter's immense pain is rooted in a deeply personal, fiercely guarded tragedy. The recent devastating medical diagnosis of Daphne Rose Walton's severe infertility and premature menopause has acted as a ruthless wrecking ball to their shared dreams of the future. Carter has always harbored a profound, aching desire for a family, a lifelong dream he truly believed he was finally realizing with Daphne by his side. But Daphne, paralyzed by her functional depression and consumed by the toxic, overwhelming belief that she is holding Carter back from his ultimate happiness, has made the heartbreaking, unilateral decision to flee to Paris, abandoning their marriage in its most vulnerable, desperate hour. The sudden collision of Steffy and Carter in that shadowed office is a masterclass in tragic, dangerous timing. Two incredibly attractive, deeply wounded individuals both reeling from the sudden, shocking abandonment of their respective spouses find themselves entirely alone in a room thick with unspoken sorrow and heavy regrets. They are both heavily intoxicated, the premium alcohol rapidly stripping away their usual professional boundaries and lowering their moral inhibitions to incredibly dangerous levels. The whiskey burns their throats, offering a fleeting, fiery distraction, but it does absolutely nothing to numb the excruciating, hollow ache residing in their chests. Steffi begins to pour her heart out, her words slightly slurred but laced with raw, unfiltered agony. She details the absolute horrors of Monaco, the paralyzing shock of seeing Sheila's face in the Mediterranean sun, and the soul-crushing realization that Finn had kept the dark secret the entire time. She tells Carter, with tears streaming down her face, that she no longer trusts the man she married, that the bedrock of their relationship has crumbled to fine dust. She speaks with the absolute finality of a woman who has already grieved the loss, firmly and resolutely believing that the epic romance of Steffi and Finn is irreparably, permanently finished. Carter listens with the profound, silent empathy of a man who understands exactly what it feels like to have the rug violently pulled out from under him. He does not offer hollow platitudes or empty, meaningless reassurances. Instead, he offers a clear, empathetic mirror to her immense pain. He shares his own agonizing narrative, the utter helplessness of watching Daphne slip away into the dark, suffocating abyss of depression, and the excruciating sting of her sudden departure to Paris. He validates Steffi's intense anger and her profound heartbreak, creating a powerful, intoxicating bubble of mutual understanding and shared devastation. As the dark night wears on and the level of amber liquid in the whiskey bottle steadily, inevitably drops, the atmosphere in the CEO office undergoes a palpable, highly dangerous shift. The shared, platonic grief begins to morph into something entirely different, a desperate, clawing, primal need to feel something, absolutely anything, other than the suffocating pain of rejection and loneliness. They are leaning on each other both literally and figuratively, their physical proximity amplifying the intense emotional charge crackling in the heavy air between them, drawing them closer into a gravitational pull of shared vulnerability. The unfolding narrative heavily indicates that this booze-fueled commiseration is about to cross the ultimate, unforgivable line. Driven by profound heartbreak, heavily clouded by alcohol, and fueled by a mutual, desperate desire for physical and emotional comfort, Steffi and Carter are standing on the precipice of a monumental, life-altering mistake. The strict boundaries of their long-standing, respectful friendship are rapidly dissolving, replaced by a sudden, fiery passion born entirely of shared trauma. If they surrender to this overwhelming temptation, it will be an act of desperate rebellion against the spouses who have hurt them so deeply, a physical manifestation of their shared grief. Should this highly passionate, illicit encounter ignite, it will undoubtedly lead to a morning of crushing realization, frantic panic, and overwhelming, suffocating guilt. Steffi and Carter will be forced to navigate the treacherous, terrifying aftermath of their drunken indiscretion. They will likely form a desperate, ironclad pact of silence, vowing to bury this explosive secret in the deepest, darkest recesses of their minds. But in the glamorous, interconnected world of Los Angeles fashion, secrets are like ticking time bombs, and the explosive fallout of a Steffi and Carter affair would send catastrophic shock waves through the entire Forrester and Walton dynasties, altering the landscape forever. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away across the globe, John Finn Finnegan is trapped in a psychological prison of his own making. The frantic, blinding panic that consumed him on the beautiful beaches of Monaco has solidified into a desperate, agonizing resolve to fix what he has broken. He realizes with crushing clarity the catastrophic magnitude of his error. He finally understands that his silence regarding Sheila was not just a simple mistake, it was a devastating, unforgivable blow to his wife's psychological safety and her trust in him as her protector. Finn is a man scrambling to pick up the shattered pieces of his life, desperately trying to formulate a plan to make amends before the clock runs out. Finn's internal monologue is a chaotic, agonizing swirl of justification, profound regret, and desperate hope. He will desperately try to explain his actions to Steffy, even though she adamantly refused to give him even 5 seconds of silence to speak his truth in Monaco. In his mind, his hands were completely tied by circumstance. He was trapped on a commercial flight high above the Atlantic Ocean. He could not physically force Sheila Carter off the plane or cause a dangerous scene midair. He took the only logical action he thought he could by immediately booking her a return ticket home the moment the plane touched down on European soil. Finn will vehemently, passionately deny any form of collusion or conspiracy with his biological mother. He did not orchestrate this nightmare, nor did he want Sheila anywhere near his wife. His fatal, tragic flaw was his misguided, naive attempt to protect Steffy's happiness and preserve their peace. He kept quiet because he did not want to ruin the magical, romantic reunion they were sharing after months of corporate stress and family warfare. He genuinely, albeit foolishly, assumed that Sheila was still at the airport, waiting for her flight back to Los Angeles. He never, in his wildest nightmares, imagined she would break her promise and stalk them to the historic church or the beach. Adding another layer of excruciating, heartbreaking irony to this impending disaster is the sudden revelation regarding Daphne Rose Walton. Just as Carter is potentially crossing the point of no return with Steffy in the dimly lit Forrester office, Daphne is experiencing a profound, life-altering change of heart across the world. The latest developments reveal that Daphne is returning from Paris, having realized through deep introspection that running away from her devastating infertility diagnosis is not the answer to her pain. She is eager, hopeful, and desperate to give her marriage to Carter another chance, ready to fight for their profound love and explore alternative paths to building a family together. But Daphne's triumphant, hopeful return might be tragically, devastatingly too late. If Carter has already sought comfort in Steffy's arms, the pure foundation of his marriage to Daphne will be irrevocably poisoned by his shocking infidelity. Carter, a man renowned for his unwavering honor, his strict moral compass, and his deep integrity, will be crushed beneath the suffocating weight of his own hypocrisy. He will be forced to look into the hopeful, loving eyes of the wife he cherishes, knowing with sickening certainty that he has committed the ultimate betrayal with one of her closest, most trusted friends. Similarly, Finn is racing back to Los Angeles on the first available flight with a heart full of desperate apologies and a profound plea for forgiveness, completely and utterly oblivious to the horrifying fact that his traumatized wife may have already found physical solace in the arms of another man. The existential question that now hangs heavily over the entire narrative is whether the legendary sin marriage can possibly survive this multi-layered, catastrophic betrayal. Even if Steffy can eventually, through immense effort, find it in her heart to forgive Finn's deception regarding Sheila, the suffocating, toxic secret of her night with Carter will act as a deadly rot, eating away at any potential reconciliation from the inside out. The stage is perfectly set for a season of unprecedented heartbreak, explosive, life-altering revelations, and dramatic reckonings that will change these characters' lives forever.